On today's show, Lamont and Larry live, we are going to break down a lot of things that have happened politically in the last month. Y'all haven't seen me and Larry together. And one thing that's really, really big about this show that I'm going to break down is my plan, your boy's personal plan to end mass murders and mass shootings, or at least reduce it significantly by next year, if the will of the people can get behind it. That and so much more. It starts right now. Lamont and Larry live. Here we go.
I'm up early for the dealers come out. Everybody is outside till the killers come out. You ain't eating, you just act full. I'm impactful. Dozen funerals in a month. I got that pull. I will give it to niggas in all rap forms. Ignatius out right now on all platforms.
That's right. You in the building. Y'all knowing, all loving, all feeling, all seeing, all powerful. It's damn all everything. Sexy as hell host. That's me, Lamont Tyson. And there are two L's in double L. And here's the other L, ladies and gentlemen. The big homie, Larry, is back in the building. What's going on, Larry?
Oh, man, it's all good. How you feeling?
Hanging tough, my brother. Hanging tough. Be sure to subscribe to this man's channel. He puts out great tech videos. He has wine and winners videos where he's drinking wine and giving away boxes and goodies and tech. You got to check my man out. And for sure, you come download our podcast. We'll be up there often. Follow me on Instagram and be sure to come follow me on TikTok. But more importantly, ladies and gentlemen, the link you see below my face, it's also in the description and pinned in the chat. That is for my movie G-Force. If you want to see what life is like when the very MAGA infiltrating people are in government trying to enhance their powers, somehow those powers get given to the very communities that they're trying to suppress. And you give a black man the ability to control gravity. And he uses that ability to take on MAGA sites, infiltrating the government, trying to traffic minority girls. You want to see that happen? You want to see some of your favorite celebrities on Stars get in this movie? I need you to go make a donation to that link. $1 works. It can be as low as $1. It can be as high as you can do the whole damn thing if you got it like that. And of course, if you do, you get to be on set. You'll get the pitch deck, the whole nine. Without delay, go and support G-Force today. Larry. How you feeling first, my brother? You feeling good today? Your health doing good? It's peak week for asthma folks because of the changing of the season and allergies. So how you feeling today?
Oh, man, I'm feeling much better than I was yesterday. It's been a tough few weeks, man. It has been, no doubt. I've been I've been dealing with some asthma issues and I've been real itchy, man. I thought something was wrong with me. First, I was getting all worried because I was itchy. I was like, man, did I get something when I traveled? But I just was itching everywhere, my hands, my feet, my face, everything. But nothing was like welted up. I didn't have any rashes. It just felt like it was coming from underneath. So yesterday I took some Benadryl because it was just got too much and it settled it way down, but I was zonked out all day. Benadryl just puts a brother to sleep.
knocked your ass out like Mike Tyson in his prime, huh? Had you zonked.
Yeah, I did.
Damn. Well, we're glad you are awake and available today. And there's been a lot of things that have happened in politics, Larry, that we haven't had a chance to cover. But I think the biggest one right now that's eating up the airwaves and creating subsequent conversations is this second attempt on Trump's life. And I'm going to play the clip so we have the fundamental data. But Larry, this guy that did it, he's from the Greensboro, North Carolina area. That ain't but a football throw away from me. So let's take a look at this and then we'll talk about the finer points and some of the hoopla that has come from what happened.
Former President Donald Trump's campaign says he is safe and unharmed, and the FBI is leading the investigation after an apparent assassination attempt at his West Palm Beach golf club on Sunday.
1:30 this afternoon, call came out, shots fired. That was called in by the Secret Service. Former President Donald Trump is safe and unharmed following a protective incident shortly before 2 p.m. on Sunday at Trump International Golf Club at West Palm Beach. The U.S. Secret Service personnel opened fire on a gunman located near the property line, and this matter is under investigation.
Authorities brought a man in custody who they say is a possible suspect in the incident. The FBI released a statement saying it has responded to West Palm Beach, Florida, and is investigating what appears to be an attempted assassination of former President Trump. Trump was playing a round of golf at the time of the incident, which comes about 2 months after a gunman attempted to assassinate the former president during a rally in Pennsylvania. He posted a message on social media assuring that he is safe and well and saying nothing will slow him down. He wrote, "I will always love you for supporting me." Two people familiar with the matter told CBS News that a male was seen with a high-powered rifle near Trump International Golf Club. The man was pointing the rifle at the golf course where former President Trump was apparently located at the time. U.S. Secret Service agents engaged the suspect, firing multiple shots. The suspect attempted to flee by foot.
Now, in the bushes where this guy was is a AK-47 style rifle with a scope, 2 backpacks which were hung on the fence that had ceramic tile in them, and a GoPro.
A Justice Department spokeswoman says Attorney General Merrick Garland has been briefed on the situation. Christian Benavides, CBS News, West Palm Beach, Florida.
Larry. We don't condone violence on this show because we love most of our fellow Americans. This guy looks like he's a whack job, Larry, but it's not just necessarily him looking like a whack job. The other problem that I think some of us are having, including me, Larry, can we believe that these attempts on Trump's life are real, legitimate attempts, or are they staged by Trump himself, or are they staged by the GOP, who by this point in time, Larry, they are done. The regular Republicans are done with MAGA Republicans. But the problem is there's too many MAGA Republicans in their base to get rid of the MAGA sites because they see Trump as a threat and a harness to the Republicans not getting power of the White House back. And they can't tell Trump what to do. So where are you at with this second attempt? I'm glad Trump's not hurt. I'm glad that nobody was hurt. And if this is a legitimate guy trying to hurt the president, I want him to be punished to the full extent of the law. But at the same time, I want Trump to be punished to the full extent of the law for crimes he's gotten away with. But at the end of the day, this is about the gun violence. Where are you at with this guy, Larry, and how crazy he looks? And what do you think about the whole entire situation?
Well, first off, this dude, it's funny. When they talked about him on the news, the first things they were saying were, "Oh, he donated to Act Blue, and he has some stuff on his social media supporting Kamala, whatever." And he talked a lot about Ukraine stuff. What they didn't tell you until like a day or so, I think it was later the day after they had already put out all the initial stuff, was that this dude used to be a hardcore MAGA guy. He was a serious Trump supporter. And he only switched over and stopped supporting Trump after Trump refused to support Ukraine. And so he became disenfranchised with the whole Trump movement and MAGA movement and decided to, basically turn his anger and frustration towards Trump. But that's one of those things. Trump has for a long time, riled people up, a certain type of people, riled them up towards violence in his rallies for years. He has instigated violence against people who were there that didn't agree with him, against people that were hecklers at his rallies, against the press, against the Capitol even. I mean, he has riled his base and his supporters to violence numerous times throughout the years. Well, what happens is that when you engage with violent people and they decide they don't like you, oftentimes that violence comes right back on you. And so I'm not trying to say that he deserves to be shot or killed. I'm just simply saying that when you tell people violence is okay under certain circumstances, they believe you. And then when those circumstances happen to be where you're in the crosshairs, you can expect that some of those same people might be the ones that are putting that violence on you. Now, for me, I think that I know when they first came out, they tried to come out and praise Secret Service. Oh, Secret Service did a wonderful job. This guy saw this guy and did such a wonderful job and blah, blah, blah. No, this is a horrific failing of Secret Service. This guy sat in the bushes for 12 hours.
12 hours. With high-power weapons.
Yes. He sat up there in these bushes for 12 hours and no one, and it's not like they have not been securing the president at this golf course for the last like 8 years or something. They know every nook and cranny. They know every pocket of where someone can hide, where someone can be in and not be seen, where someone can go and place a gun. They talked about this specific location because they've said in the past that the media and paparazzi have gone to this location to stalk the president and take photos. So they knew this was a potential problem point. But this man was able to be there for 12 hours. So this was not some success of the Secret Service that this guy was able to see a barrel through the fence and shoot at him and chase him away. Yeah. I mean, personally, I mean, this guy's an amateur, I guess, so I'm not going to put too much on him. But I'll just say this. I mean, if you're out there and you're really trying to kill somebody, and this is where it's scary about how poorly I think Secret Service has done. If this had been a state actor, and let's say they've been talking before about Iran was potentially talking about sending people over here to kill him. If this had been some professionals, some state actors that were trained, he would be dead right now because they wouldn't have made some of those simple mistakes. Like one, you're not going to put the barrel of your gun through the fence and leave the barrel through the fence. You're going to go there. You're going to set up. You're going to decide at what point you're going to take your shot. You're going to put your barrel through the gun when no one's there. You're going to dial in your distance, and then you're going to pull your gun out, and you're going to wait. And you're going to wait till you have a target in sight. And once you have your target, you're going to take your shot, and then you're going to leave. But this, I mean, it just feels so ridiculous and amateurish. It's hard to believe that it's real. It makes you feel like this is something fake and it's not real because it's so ridiculously amateurish. But yeah. I mean, I don't want to sit up there and try and discount this and say, no, this is fake or anything, because if something really does happen or if it is real, but the one thing that is real, whether it is, whether it was some sort of setup or not setup, the one thing that is real is that Secret Service has failed this candidate twice in a very, very short period. Not just the candidate, failed us as the American people. Because in reality, even though I don't want Trump to win, I want him to lose dramatically in the elections. I don't want him shot. I don't want him killed. And I don't want him turned into some sort of martyr. So no, it's up to Secret Service to protect him, and they have done. Even though he's still alive, one can say, "Hey, any success is a good success." He's still alive. It's piss poor. The dude got shot once, and another dude was set up ready to take a second shot. So,
now Larry made a great point about finger pointing. A lot of Republicans have done at Democrats, which just drives me nuts. But before we get to that point, because we got to spend some time on that, I want to talk about the issue of the gun violence itself and these high-powered rifles. Let me give y'all a statistic real quick. In most mass shootings, here's a breakdown of the most common types of firearms used in mass shootings. Number one in the United States, semi-automatic rifles, AR-15 and similar. Usage, semi-automatic rifles, particularly the AR-15 and its variants, are commonly used in mass shootings. Features, the rifles can fire one bullet per trigger pull and can be equipped with high-capacity magazine, allowing shooters to fire many rounds in a short period. AR-15s were used in high-profile mass shootings such as the Sandy Hook Elementary School, Las Vegas shooting, and the Parkland shooting. Well, Larry, we've got all this technology, and there's always hand-wringing of what can we do to gun violence, to tamper down gun violence, or at least some of it. Well, here's your boys' plan, Larry, utilizing technology. For years, Larry, pet owners who love their damn pets have been taking their pets to get chips put in the pets, so if they get missing, you can find out where the hell Fido took his hungry ass. Because Fido get hungry, his ass will go to the neighbor's house and eat up all their taco meat. Okay. with Larry, with all the satellite technology and things we have nowadays, my plan is as simple as this. Congress could do this tomorrow if they wanted to and get things shaped up. My plan is like this, Larry. Congress should force any gun manufacturer that's making these high-powered weapons to place some kind of a tracking chip in these guns. And whenever this gun comes close to a populated area, a school, a church, a movie theater, an event, a presidential speech, anything, a ping goes to the FBI or whatever service would be put in place to keep up with where the hell that gun has moved at. And on all future sales of gun, you treat this shit like a food label. Every gun has this tracking technology in it. And if it goes in the wrong place, we're going to be pinged. For those that already own these guns, and remember, Larry, they're supposed to be registered. You will have 2 years to take your shit to get a chip put in it that the government will pay for. Now, Larry, my plan does not call for your handguns. Now, granted, we might see a spike in handgun shooting, but in trying to be, closer to the middle and trying to do something that can at least satisfy some of the disdain we've had and some of the bad things we've seen. And I just gave you the data on what's used at most mass shootings. A safe start would be let people keep their handguns, no chips or anything like that on those. But if you own high-powered magazine and rifles, you got 2 years to take that shit to the government to get a chip put in it, or your ass starts getting fined every single month or every year, something that hurts until you take that shit down there and get chipped. Now, Larry, nobody needs these high-powered guns to go fucking hunting. I mean, what are you hunting? Moby Dick ain't grew no legs and came out the ocean. So, having said that, Larry, what do you think about my plan to utilize chip technology that we've been putting in dogs to put in the inanimate high-powered gun to try to be a buffer of protection for large mass gatherings?
Oh man, I get that. I do.
Okay.
My only issue is I have some real concerns of privacy and safety about the government being able to track where you're going and what you're doing. And as much as I have reservations about people personally, I don't think they should just be able to own these high-powered rifles. That's just where I'm at. They should just ban them. I don't think I'm a
Larry, look, I agree with you. I don't, but I'm trying to figure out a way that we can meet halfway. And this is my meet halfway. And to just buffer the point you just made about you don't want the government having that much access. Okay. If you don't want the government having that much access, don't buy the gun. But then the second point to that, Larry, is the government already has a database that you sign on to when you buy the gun anyway. They know where you live at. You know
I agree.
what I'm
I understand that. I just don't.
Okay.
I don't like the idea of the government being able to track wherever you go. I don't want, like, if you decide, hey, I'm going to go meet up with the Huey P. Newton Gun Club and go shoot and do some firearm training this weekend, I don't want them being able to track me based on where my gun is. And then they say, uh-oh, look at this. We have a whole group of African-American gun owners congregating in this place. Maybe we need to go put an informant in there. Maybe we need to go put somebody over there to start watching them. Maybe they're trying to do something and have them start tracking people and following people. I know from our history, our government has done some really heinous things to our people, and a lot of that has been done through surveillance. And so I'm not a big fan of that. I do understand that they have a certain amount of information, like who bought the gun, where the gun is supposed to reside based off of who bought it. But as we also know, depending on what state you live in, that if you buy a gun, you can't transfer ownership to that gun to somebody else without having to do anything, without filling out any paperwork or anything. You could just simply say, here, this is now yours. And that's it. It's completely legal. And that's how this guy, I imagine, obtained his gun, because he was a felon and unable to walk into a federally licensed, firearm shop, gun shop and buy a gun. So I'm assuming he bought it on, from a secondary, person, and that's legal. It's legal for that person to sell stuff. They don't have to do background checks. They don't have to go and ask the guy for his fingerprints. Right? He just pays him whatever he asks, and that goes on our way. So, but
Larry, what if the tracking device would have already been on that gun?
I mean, that is that's a tricky thing. I think that's a tricky thing, and I know a lot. And here's why it's tricky, because I think in one respect, you can make the argument we're already heavily surveilled and tracked. We all carry around cell phones, and as we know, the government could track us at pretty much at down to a meter or something, or less than that, whatever it is, if they want to, using our cell phones. And they have, and they can track us. They can track us not where we currently are, but through time, as we've gone from tower to tower to tower, and they can see where we've been and where. And so it would be hard to make the argument that putting a chip in a gun and having that gun tracked would somehow limit your personal freedoms, when those personal freedoms have already been so
that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Now I get where you're coming from. So let me try to decipher to the audience what Larry has just said, because some of y'all might not get it. He's not saying it's a bad idea. He's worried that you might get people in office that would use it incongruently against minorities.
Yeah, they would.
That's what he's saying.
We know they would, because every time they've had the opportunity, they've done it.
Because so in your now, do you think that opposing something like this is better than having it in place to prevent mass shootings?
Honestly, I think that I think that it really should just be, I know you're talking about a compromise. I honestly just believe that the best way to prevent mass shootings of this nature is simply to ban those weapons. Because when we had assault rifle bans, we did not have these mass shootings. We didn't have them. It's not like people didn't get shot, but it wasn't as easy. You could not walk into a place and let off 150 shots in a matter of a minute or so. You couldn't do it. It wasn't as easy. If you were to carry a handgun into a school and shoot, maybe you had 17 shots in the clip. You would have to carry a whole bunch of clips. You couldn't walk into a school with a clip that carries 50, 60, 70, 100 rounds, or a duct taped or electrical tape banana clip that's up there. You can drop it out, quick flip, and keep on. They didn't have all that, And after Reagan got shot, they came out with the assault rifle ban. They had it. It was in place for a while. And there weren't people out there getting shot up in schools. It was only after these bans got lifted that you started seeing this. And so, I mean, the reality of it is that these are military grade weapons, and they don't belong in the hands of civilians. I mean, there's enough other guns out there people can buy if they want. They can buy all kinds of numerous handguns. They can buy shotguns. They can buy hunting rifles. There's all kinds of guns that people can buy. You don't need to buy a military assault rifle weapon. It's not even that. Some people say a military assault style weapon because they try and act like it's just styled like one. No, it functions like one too. The only difference oftentimes between some of these military assault style weapons and a military actual weapon that's handed out in the military is the fact that there's a switch that allows you to go from semi to full auto. It
is. Right.
And you can go online and buy a small kit that takes about 5 or 10 minutes to adjust, that takes your weapon from semi to fully automatic. Most people don't do it because as soon as you do that to your gun, you become a felon. you know.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
most people don't do it, but you can do it very, very quickly. And that's why I think they just don't need to be in the hands of the public, of our civilians. Just like we don't like it should not be legal for people to walk around with a tank or drive around in a tank that's active and can shoot, ballistic missiles out of the thing, or you shouldn't be able to walk around with hand grenades. And it's just there's certain weapons that are designed for military use and they should remain for that purpose solely.
I agree with you, but that's not going to happen because America has shown that it has no appetite to do that. And the other thing you mentioned that I've gotten, I've got Republican friends, and I've got people who are Republicans that don't like MAGA, and I've come across people who are Republican that do like MAGA, and I've had this conversation with them. And one of the first pieces of opposition they said to me is, whenever we're having a gun debate about banning assault rifles, what you're saying, you know what the first thing they say to me, Larry, is this. First thing they say to me is, if you ban it, all people are going to do is find another way to get them illegally. And I said to them, you're right. But if every gun manufacturer going forward is forced to put that chip in there, you cut down on how much of that people can get their hands on. And let me tell you, want me to tell you what the Republicans had to say to me?
What?
Oh, well, what about what's going on in Israel?
Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness. Well, here's the thing, though. People often say, like, hey, if you ban this, the only people are going to get them are going to be criminals or some other people. And that is, I mean, obviously, if you make something illegal, the only people who are going to have them are going to be criminals, because the moment you obtain one, you are a criminal unless you have the illegal ability to get one. But I guess my point is that, when you ban them, like for instance, the gun that was bought in Sandy, that was used for Sandy Hook, and the guns that were bought and used for what was that other shooting I was thinking of?
Las
Vegas too, sure. I think Uvalde, even all those guns were bought legally. Yeah. So they were all legally purchased guns. So if you take these are people who, and some, like, for instance, Sandy Hook was that wasn't his gun. That was like he took his mom's gun. But if he didn't have that gun in the house, because from everything that I have read, everything that I've seen on TV, it seemed like his mom was a law-abiding citizen. That other shooting where the parents had bought their kid a gun and then he went and shot up the school, the one where I think they were prosecuting them just recently. If they didn't have access to those guns because they were illegal, those kids would not have grabbed those guns and gone done those shootings. Now, they may have grabbed a different gun, maybe, but they wouldn't have had access to those high-powered rifles that can shoot very quick, at a very fast burst rate. They wouldn't have had access to all that. So now, I mean, now that we have school shootings, is it going to be, if we get rid of the assault rifles, they're going to stop? I don't know, because some people will say they'll just use a different gun. They might, but every time there's a school shooting, it's an AR-15. I mean,
I just showed you the statistic.
I don't know if it's just a matter of getting rid of that gun, getting rid of the access for the public to own that gun or possess that gun or buy that gun, versus they'll just use something else. What I do know is that gun has been a problem, and that gun needs to be taken away from the public. It needs not be a part of the public sphere. It's just it's a military weapon, and it should be used for the military. Period.
I agree, but Larry, America hasn't proven it can do it. So, I said I agree with you, but America hasn't proven that they can do it. So I'm just trying to come up with a healthy compromise so that these people can keep their guns. That's it.
Well, I don't think that I don't think that people should have their. I'm not saying they should take all their guns away. Like if you are a hunter and you have a shotgun, you have some handguns because you like to go to the range, or maybe you have, whatever you want to protect your home. Okay, keep those guns. Keep those guns. But I don't think you should be able to just roll around with an AK or a AR. That's just it's and I understand putting the chip in there. Maybe that would help track it. Maybe what they should do is maybe they should just put a fingerprint reader on the gun too. So, before you can actually operate the gun, you have to put your fingerprint on there to activate, to unlock the trigger. And before it does, maybe it's there's a database. You put your fingerprint on there and it says, boom, sorry, you're in a database that says you can't even own a gun. Can't use it.
All right. Y'all let us know what you think. Shout out to Dwayne. Love the idea, brother. And shout out to B. Avery, who's all up in the building. Ladies and gentlemen, me and B. Avery, we doing something like The Rock. We cooking up something. So get ready for that. Shout out to DeMarcus Vaughn, too. And be sure to go and support my film G-Force. The GoFundMe is in the video description. It's right below my face. If you want to see black film made by someone who's done a humorous job of reviewing film, me, let's get it popping. $1 works. Now, Larry, the other thing that made me mad after this second presidential assassination was Republicans just indignant, running their mouth talking about the rhetoric of hate, the rhetoric that's tamping up all this stuff is coming from the damn Democrats. Larry, what in the... Take a look at this, Larry. Then we're going to come back and I'm going to show you another reel of all the freaking hate speech that Trump has said. But before we go there, take a look at what other Republicans are saying about Democrats.
And I know it's popular on a lot of corners of the left to say that we have a both sides problem. And I'm not going to say we're always perfect. I'm not going to say that conservatives always get things exactly right. But the big difference between conservatives and liberals is that no one has tried to kill Kamala Harris in the last couple of months, and 2 people now have tried to kill Donald Trump in the last couple of months. I'd say that's pretty strong evidence that the left needs to tone down the rhetoric and needs to cut this crap out. Somebody's going to get hurt by it.
Sounds like to me he almost slipped up and said we almost tried to kill Kamala Harris.
Yeah, like, bro, first of all, man, what the fuck? You're going to take a negative, and because no one, like, people, first of all, I'm annoyed by the whole clip, Larry, because them dumbasses is in there clapping at something that wasn't even that profound. Because someone has not made an attempt on Biden or Harris, but they have done it on Trump twice, you're trying to say that that's because of Democratic rhetoric? Hell, that could be because of the incompetence of their security fucking detail, and Kamala and Biden got top-notch security detail. There was 100 reasons why that hasn't happened. But to try to justify the rhetoric being the issue with the Democrats just because no one has attempted to harm them is just dumb. When the person who has been doing all this tough talk, like he badder than a bat in hell, is Trump. Larry, look at this.
Whether it's bombast,
I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay?
or bluster,
I would bomb the out of them.
one thing is certain: Donald Trump does not mince words on the campaign trail.
He said he's that's terrible. Terrible.
Trump repeating a vulgar word shouted by a woman in reference to Ted Cruz earlier this month.
It would be worse.
Or using a crude Yiddish word to describe Hillary Clinton's loss to Barack Obama in 2008.
And she got schlonged. She lost.
And Trump doesn't limit his attacks to rivals. He leveled some tough talk at a protester Monday night in Las Vegas.
Like to punch him in the face, I'll tell you.
Trump fully aware of the force behind his words.
It's amazing. You know, whenever I want to knock out a protester, I just talk about the wall. The place goes crazy. Nobody ever hears the protest.
Trump's coarse language has been a hallmark of the real estate mogul's campaign since the day he announced his candidacy. using charged rhetoric talking about undocumented Mexican immigrants entering the U.S.
They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people.
Such comments might have tripped up other candidates, but Trump's inflammatory rhetoric hasn't seemed to hurt him with Republican voters.
He's not a politician. He owes nobody. And I know he's brash and can sound rude, but he's saying the things that we want to hear.
He's the favorite to win the Nevada caucuses tonight, which would give him a third victory in a
He's saying the things we want to hear. So you want him to shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue, Republican. You want him to punch somebody in the face, Republican. You want somebody slong with Hillary Clinton, Republican. But the Democrats is the one with this crazy behavior. And let me add one more, Larry, before we rebuttal. He continued his hate speech after this.
Republican presidential candidate and the former US President Donald Trump has shared his feelings on the singer Taylor Swift. We knew about them already last week, but this morning on Truth, he says, "I hate Taylor Swift." Oh. The post was created 5 days after the singer endorsed the US Vice President Kamala Harris. After Mr. Trump and Ms. Harris finished debating, the pop star told her 283 million followers that Kamala Harris and Tim Walz would get her vote.
Larry, that is literally the definition of hate. I hate Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
And he knows good and damn well when he makes these accusations about people, his voters, some of them are so deranged, so dumb, so deplorable that they'll hop in their car, leave North Carolina, and ride up to a pizza parlor in Washington, D.C. and shoot up the place thinking that these lies that are being told are true.
Right.
So you tell me, Larry, who's really the provocateur of hate rhetoric? It's fucking Republicans and Trump.
Well, that's the thing that it's just so hypocritical and ridiculous is that the entire time that Democrats have been putting out this narrative that this is a fight for democracy and democracy is on the line, they have never once called for violence. They have never once. And every time when there's even been a hint of violence, they've always come out and said there's no place in our electoral process for political violence. And so when you're constantly reinforcing that idea, and then the political violence is coming from people that were either your supporters, either currently your supporters or previously your supporters, you can't put that on the Democrats. The Republicans have allowed Trump to get up there and call for violence time and time again. He used to tell people at his rallies, somebody's up there doing something, punch them, beat them up, I'll pay for your bail, he used to say,
Right. So
now when you have those same violent people turning themselves on you because they don't like what you're doing, I mean, it's as Malcolm X said, chicken's coming home to roost. I mean, that's just what it is. And as far as hating Taylor Swift, I mean, it's just so silly and petty. It's really as if he sat up there just stewing and brewing on this for days and had nothing that he can come up with that was clever. No witty comeback. All he can come up with is I hate Taylor Swift. He says it seems like he was just a little kid in his room just seething with anger. I hate my babysitter, and just couldn't think of anything, so just typed I hate you. It's like a little kid who's 3 years old and just screams I hate you, I hate you, I hate you, because he can't have there's nothing else. He can't articulate his feelings, and I don't know. It's sad and petty, and I hope that I really just hope we can be done with this individual after this election. I hope that Kamala whoops him so bad at that point, the Republican Party can just say, the moneyed part of the party can just say to the MAGA base, we're done. We don't care who you want. We're going to put out candidates that are going to win elections. What you guys have been putting out are a bunch of bombastic idiots, people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who can win in her district, but then destroys the other 15 districts surrounding her. We're not going to have Trump out there who you guys want, and then he endorses candidates all over the country, and those candidates lose and cause us to give up Senate seats in places like Georgia. I mean, I'm hoping the Republicans will do that because at some point we can get back to a country where I think we should have more than two parties, but we only have two. But I would like to at least get back to a place where our two parties are so reasonable that our biggest problem is people are like, I don't know which one I should vote for. They both kind of seem the same. I mean, I know that's sort of terrible to be in that place, but I don't want there to be one party where like we want kids to eat, we want women to control their health care, and the other party is basically like, no, let them damn kids starve, but we want people to have kids. We just want them to starve once they're born, you know? I mean,
and Chuck D, we have said that. We have said that Larry's explicitly now talking about Republicans versus MAGA. If you didn't catch that, he's explicitly saying that. And to Larry's point, no, Larry, you know, I one time wondered what was the point in America having Trump as a president? Like, you set the country back in so many ways. Why did we have to go through that? I'm now seeing why we had to go through that, Larry, because as long as Donald Trump's ass is alive, whether he's in jail or not, he's going to keep running for president. And guess what? The Republican Party can't stop him because there's too many in the base that'll vote for him, which means what the Republicans have to start doing is doing more to support the Democrats in order to wait out this man's death. Because as long as that fool can breathe, Larry, whether he's in jail or not, he's going to keep running. He's the gift that keeps on giving to Democrats. So one way or the other one, it's going to force Republicans, not the MAGA sites, but Republicans, you're going to have to get on board with Democrats, or you get on board with the person who wants to take democracy and turn it into a dictatorship. It's simple as that.
You know what's interesting, though, is like you look at like people like Dick Cheney, Liz Cheney, some of these other Republicans have been very high-profile Republicans who have come out and said, I'm voting for Kamala Harris.
Right.
Because democracy is on the line. Democracy is on the line. Trump and them can try and say the rhetoric is what's causing these assassination attempts, whatever. I doubt that is just that, but the fact is that democracy is on the line. Whether or not people are taking that and running with it in the wrong way, it is on the line. Because he did say he was going to be a dictator on day one. He does have plans to limit our rights through that Project 2025 and his personal version of it. So our democracy is on the line here. But the thing that's interesting is you have people that are some of these high-profile Republicans that are saying, I'm going to vote for Kamala Harris, a Democrat. Kamala could very easily become a gateway drug for Republicans. They could come over and vote, and when they do, they say, oh, wait a minute.
This is a good party.
These Democrats aren't that bad. Their policies are not that different. Maybe they want to get from A to B, but their path of getting there is a little bit jagged or a little bit different than mine. But I'm trying to get to B too. So what difference does it make if we take I-5 versus 405? If we all get to the same place, maybe it doesn't make a difference. And that's what it should really scare the Republicans, because you might start finding people that say, hey, the Democrats aren't that bad. And the Democrats might say, hey, you know what? Our tent is big. It's big, it's tall, it's wide. Everyone's welcome. There's enough room for all of you, for you far people, you people with some far off ideas on the left and the right and come in the middle. We have room for everybody to come over here and hash it out and make this country better. And you get enough of those people in there, then you end up with a much smaller Republican Party that's far less effective in everything that they do. Exactly. And I personally think that the way the Republican Party is right now, I think our country would be better off with a far smaller, less effective Republican Party.
100%. And if you want to see that play out on the big screen, ladies and gentlemen, all you got to do is go support my film, G-Force. Link is in the description. Whatever donation you can give helps as we're trying to get to that specific goal, trying to start filming by the end of next year. Help us get there. Last thing we're going to cover, Larry, is kind of like a two-parter. So this young lady came out with support from her brother to endorse Kamala, and it sparked some poignant comments from some other people. Take a look at this.
Billie Eilish, at 22 years old, she has 9 Grammys already. She makes music with her talented producer-musician brother Phineas. They came out today endorsing Harris, posting a joint video to Eilish's over 110 million Instagram followers.
Today is National Voter Registration Day, and we are asking you to please join us in going to iwillvote.com to check your status and vote early like we do.
We are voting for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz because they are fighting to protect our reproductive freedom, our planet, and our democracy.
We can't let extremists control our lives, our freedoms, and our future. The only way to stop them and the dangerous Project 2025 agenda is to vote and elect Kamala Harris.
Vote like your life depends on it, because it does.
So, Larry, you've got two of the biggest pop stars in white culture, and even Caitlin Clark hinting that she's voting for Kamala. Literally between Taylor Swift, Billie Eilish, you've got half the American electorate talking about, might be leaning toward their way of thinking, so to speak. But This is the problem, Larry. I don't like it when people start sounding like Laura Ingraham talking about shut up and dribble. One of our people has done that. And anytime I encounter people that have an issue with the way celebrities talking about politics, or celebrities encouraging their people to get out and vote or vote a certain way, it's usually a damn Republican. So take a look at this, Larry, and we'll talk about it on the back end. Larry, that is so much horse shit. Lord have mercy. Like, where do I begin? First of all, Brother Pharrell, I'm a fan of your accomplishments. I'm not a fan of you in this moment, because whether people say what they want to say or not, politics affects everybody. You can't step out of your bed. Hell, you can't even get into your bed without some policy having to affect it. That's number one. Number two, are you playing your hand that you're a Republican? Is that what you're doing here? Because that's what it seems like to me. And if you are, just come on out and say it. I don't understand where you're going with the notion that you don't like celebrities endorsing politics. And yet we, the American people, we get so sick of celebrities only popping up the talk shows and the such when they want to endorse a fucking movie, a fucking video, a fucking music song, or a fucking book. Yeah. So don't tell us that it doesn't matter when celebs endorse something. Celebs have influence. And with that influence, whether you want to accept it or not, comes a responsibility. And if you believe, like I do, the number one agenda in this election, and to me, there's nothing that supersedes this, is democracy. Rich people wouldn't be rich in this country if we didn't have democracy. The status that some have, we would not have it if we didn't have democracy. There's nothing that supersedes democracy, and that's what this election is about. And that's why so many people are voicing their opinion on who they should vote for, because they want to preserve democracy. So by you saying that, by you not wanting to endorse someone, are you saying you don't endorse democracy? Even though you didn't say that and you have plausible deniability, what you said spoke volumes. Floor is yours, Larry.
Yeah, I think, I on one level, I understand where he's coming from on one level, because ultimately we should all be informed voters and make our own decisions. But I'm not going to say that a celebrity shouldn't endorse someone. And there are plenty of times where somebody out there may say, hey, I'm going to endorse this particular person or this particular thing And this might have been a thing or a person that you never considered before. You're like, and now that you find someone that you like or you respect is endorsed them, you're like, you know what? Maybe you haven't made up your mind that you're just going to go ahead and you're not just going to follow them, but maybe you decide to give that person or that thing a look. I mean, that's one of the reasons why celebrities are so important when people are marketing products. That's why you see Kevin Hart on 1,000 different TV commercials. People like him and they say, okay, if he likes Capital One Bank, maybe I'll check out Capital One Bank. You know, if so-and-so likes Coca-Cola, then I'll try a Coca-Cola and I'll see if I like it. If I do, great. If I don't, then I'll just, whatever. But if Barack Obama came out and said, hey, I really like this particular candidate, give them a look. I may have never looked at him before, but if Barack says, give him a look, I might say, all right, I'm not saying I'm voting for him, but I'll at least give them a look and see what their policies are about. That's what's important about celebrity endorsements, is it gets people to pay attention, and it gives a wider audience the opportunity to go and look at somebody or something. And the thing is, when you have races that are this tight, I mean, we are in these races now where they talk about people winning states by, states that have millions of people winning those states by 10,000 votes or 40,000 votes. If you can activate voters who have never been activated before, and a lot of those are going to be youth votes. If you can get Taylor Swift out there and she can inspire 50, 60,000 unregistered voters that are 18, 19, 20, whatever to vote in Pennsylvania, that's enough. That's enough to win that state. That's enough to win a lot of these swing states. And that's why it's so important. So, I mean, to me, I think I think some of these endorsements in some respect are ridiculous in every way. But the reality of it is, if you are a politician, I mean, if you are a celebrity and you care at all about politics, you have a lot of influence. You just do. And I don't see any reason why someone like Taylor Swift or Billie Eilish should give up that level of influence when surely the money people are going to exercise their influence. They're going to donate money. They may not be famous,
Thank you,
but they surely can donate millions and millions of dollars and have their influence felt across the country. Why shouldn't Billie Eilish and Taylor Swift and Beyonce and whoever else have their influence felt?
And Larry, those people with the money, usually their influence is felt even more than just the regular folks' single vote. Because those people, not only do they get to vote, Larry, but their money gets to affect the policies that are set forth, that the regular folks don't get to be sitting at the table to set forth the policies.
Right. Some of those people actually have the policy written. They drop it off. They drop off legislation and say, here, promote this, put this out there, introduce this bill. And I mean, we have seen that happen time and time again with the oil companies. It used to happen with some of the cigarette companies. It's happened in the pharmaceutical companies, where they actually draw up the legislation and pass it off to their bought and paid for, Congress people. And the bills get introduced. The next thing you know, you're like, wait, how'd this happen? And it just just gets on through, But if you have political power and you don't exercise it, and that's why people are constantly, I know they've had these get out the vote things. I feel like MTV was like the whole MTV generation, which our generation, was pushing the whole get out the vote thing. It's so important because for a long time, voter turnout was way lower than it even is now. And
right.
And they were trying to tell people, like, look, you have power. Like, you may not have the power of these billionaires who can pay millions and millions and millions of dollars for access, but you do have political power if you exercise it, and you can do that by voting. So
exactly. Well said, my brother. Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to make our exit up out of this joint.
What, no Diddy news?
Nah, man, I ain't talking about that. I ain't talking about that, man. I'm not talking about no damn Diddy. Nope. I'm trying to stick to the agenda, and the agenda is, ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell my own stories and get this film made. Please go support Lamont Tyson. The GoFundMe link is in the video description, the pinned chat. The link is below my face. This is going to be a good film, big film. I've taken a lot of elements to make this thing work. Looking at a lot of people to be in it. If you donate $500 or more, you'll get the official pitch deck that I passed around to a couple of people that work at big production houses. And if you do 1,000 or more, you will get some access to some of the celebrities we'll have on the team. Well, Larry, what do you have going on your channel that the people can look forward to over the next couple of days?
Oh man, just some reviewing some products of phones. I have the Z Fold 6 that I'm working on some videos for. I have the new iPhone that's coming in, should be in on Friday. Yeah, I have a camera lens I'm working on a review, some backpacks, some, just some stuff. Just trying to keep my brain and my channel busy. That's all.
Yeah. Hey, y'all heard the brother. The brother said he's trying to keep his brain, his brain and the channel busy. Well, y'all go and help this brother out. And furthermore, ladies and gentlemen, if you like the reviews I do of Power, you are going to love a show me and B. Avery are doing on his channel called Just My Opinion Reviews. If you love OG Power, sprinkle with a little bit of Breaking Bad, sprinkle with a little bit of Godfather, sprinkle with another little bit of Your Honor, you are going to love HBO's The Penguin. I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, the first episode drops tomorrow night. Me and B. Avery will have a review right after to clarify anything, show you Easter eggs you might miss. I'm here to tell you that is going to be one of the top 3 best shows of the year. You don't want to miss it. Tune in, come check out our reviews, and you'll see me then tomorrow night. I'm Lamont. That's my main man, Larry. And until we come back in about a week or so, y'all stay informed and get out the vote.
Peace, y'all.